on a Wednesday at 10:30, unannounced, because my entire week structure has changed. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Things I'm going to share with you now are 5 ways. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure whether I've just been live or whether I've just been talking to myself. So I'll just announce what the video is about again. So it's 5 ways to make your food last longer. So we all know that at the moment we should try and go to the shops as infrequently as possible, try and get online shopping when we can, or just go every couple of days to the shops and do a bigger shop than maybe we normally would. So I thought I'd share 5 ways to stretch your foods to get more out of what you buy, so that you can be going to the shops a little bit less. So these are ways that sort of tie in with zero waste living, frugal lifestyle. Some of them you might already be doing, some of them you might not, some of them take a little bit more time, and if you are finding that you've got a little bit more time on your hands right now, it might be something that you want to experiment with. So number 1 is to use clips on tubes. So you may well have like a fancy twisty device where you can use that you can use on the bottom of tubes like this to get more of things out of it, like toothpaste or tomato puree in this case. If you don't have one of those fancy things, just a bulldog clip like this works really well to squeeze the end out of tubes. So you can put it on the end of like your toothpaste and make sure that you're getting out every last drop. When you get to the end of tubes, they tend to actually have extra stuff in the end part here that's really hard to get to. So you can chop off the top of any tube and get some more out of it. So toothpaste, for instance, you can usually get like another 5 toothpaste, like 5 amounts extra by just chopping off the end. And then it makes it easier to recycle as well because it's clean. Winning. The next tip, is to use a spatula to get the last parts out of things like a jar or a tin can, so that you are getting every last piece out of the item that you purchased and it is going a little bit further. So it might be that you have jam on your toast or peanut butter, something like that, and by using a spatula just to scrape it out, you will get at least another serving, maybe more than one. Third tip is to regrow from kitchen scraps. So I've been testing this one out, ready for this live, so I can show you what I mean. Things like spring onions can be grown again. So this spring onion, got it from the shop and it was a fully grown spring onion. My dad ate the spring onion, and then this part here, so this white part here, was essentially going to go on the compost heap, but I was like, no, I want to save it. So I submerged just that white part. So if you imagine that green part didn't exist, I submerged just this part in water until these roots grew back. And when these had grown, I then took it outside and planted it out in soil, and the green shoots started to appear. So this is a really great way to get free food from stuff that you would normally throw away. You can do it with quite a few different things. So leeks, celery, spring onions, carrots. So this is the top of a carrot that I've done it with. So this carrot top didn't have any of the green shoots at all. It was just, cut off at the end. Like all of these, when we bought it, it was just a carrot without the green. And I did the same thing where I just submerged this in water. Now the difference between the carrot and the spring onion is the spring onion will grow again like the original vegetable, so as in it will grow back into a spring onion, whereas the carrot will just grow the top part, so it will just grow the leaves, essentially the salady bit, which you can eat raw like a salad, or you can cook it in a dish, but it won't regrow a whole carrot, sad times. But it's a really nice way to get like green leafy veg without having to pop to the supermarket. On the same subject of regrowing from old scraps, I've also experimented with regrowing from old potatoes. Nice and easy, that one. So all you need to do is wait for your potato to start sprouting those eyes, you know, those ugly little nubbins, and then you plant it in either a nice big pot full of compost, or you can plant it into the ground. Just have a quick Google about how to grow potatoes. There's lots of information out there, depending on which route you go for, whether it's in the ground or in a tub. Other things that I'm experimenting with growing from kitchen scraps are peppers, chilies. There's all sorts of different things you can try out, and in my opinion, it's nice, like, safe way to experiment, because you kind of feel like, oh well, it would have gone in the bin anyway. So I'm not really spending any extra money. All I'm doing is spending a little bit of time on seeing whether it works, and if you have a lot of different experiments, it's a nice way to just test without wasting any extra money. My next tip is about learning about food storage. So a really great website for this is Love Food Hate Waste. So they're the ones who have like posters on the side of food waste trucks, on the side of recycle lorries around the country. And they have loads of tips on both their website and their social media about how to store foods properly. So what I mean by storing foods properly is, I mean like storing root veg, so like potatoes, carrots, in the dark, whether that's a cupboard or whether you've got a cooler part of your house that you can store it in, like a garage. And it's also about storing lettuce and spinach in the right environment so that you don't get mouldy veg, basically. The most common item that is thrown away in UK households, the two most common, are bread and salad. So if you know how to store those properly, you're saving yourself money, you're saving yourself waste, happy days. So in my opinion, the best way to store salady things, either submerge the end in water, so have it like where it looks like a bunch of flowers, and then put it in your fridge if you've got the space to do that. Or you can actually just wet a paper towel or a cloth if you don't want to use a single-use item. Just wet the end of it and wrap it around the base of your salad leaves, and then it will last longer. In terms of bread, storing bread, if you've got a bread bin, that's a brilliant place to put the bread because it keeps it moisture free, basically. Or you can wrap it in something like a tote bag, an old pillowcase, anything basically to keep it away from moisture. That moves me on to my last tip, which is about learning how to preserve foods. So the easiest way for us to preserve things in this day and age is to whack it in the freezer. So if you've got too much bread, for instance, pop it in the freezer. If you've got too many herbs, you can just put it in an ice cube tray with a bit of oil in it, and then when you need to use oil on herbs, you just pop one of those out and you're good to go. I got this book from my auntie. It was £1, and it is just about how to store produce when you grow it yourself. So it might be that you want to buy yourself a book. Maybe you've already even got a book like this and you've just not read it. Or you can just hop online and there are literally loads of tips of how to preserve things. So you may think like, okay, I know about freezing, I can do that, I actually want to look at something else. And now might be a perfect time to get a new little hobby. So maybe it's preserving in jams, chutneys, the world's your oyster. So let me know if you already do any of these things to make your food last longer, and let me know if you've got any additional tips so that we can share them, because now is the perfect time to sort of be learning from each other in terms of how to make things last a little bit longer, so we can go to the shops less and it can be open for people who need it the most. Thanks for joining me, and I will speak to you soon.